Do you ever feel as if life is quietly slipping through your fingers, even though you're doing everything you were told would make you happy? You work, you try, you love, you consume, you achieve. And yet late at night, when silence presses against your chest, there's a voice whispering, "Is this all there is?" That voice is not weakness. It is the sound of your soul begging for honesty. We live in a time where meaning has been sold to us like a product on a supermarket shelf. Happiness is promised through careers, through relationships, through the endless scroll of images on glowing screens. But deep down, you know, it's not working. You've bought the dream, and yet it feels hollow. And here lies the uncomfortable truth. What you're feeling is not an error. It's a signal. Nietzsche once warned us, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Yet what happens when that why isn't given, but must be created out of the abyss? Most people avoid the question altogether. They numb themselves with distraction, with routine, with pleasures that are forgotten as soon as they're tasted. But you, if you are still watching this, have felt the discomfort. You have noticed that the pleasures don't last, that achievement feels empty, that the world's definitions of success don't match the hunger in your chest. Let me ask you directly, what are you running from? Because whether you admit it or not, most of your life is organized around avoiding pain. Think about it. You chase comfort, stability, recognition. You scroll to escape boredom. You work to escape failure. You love to escape loneliness. But Bonhoeffer, who wrote from the darkness of a Nazi prison, reminded us that real freedom is not found in escape, but in responsibility. To look at suffering, not as a mistake, but as the very soil in which meaning grows. Here's the paradox. The more you avoid your suffering, the more meaningless your life becomes. But the moment you face it, honestly, without excuses, you begin to see. Imagine this. A man wakes up every morning and goes to a job he hates. He convinces himself it's noble, that he's responsible, that it's for his family. And maybe it is. But every night he sits in the dark, a quiet despair pressing on his chest. One day, in the middle of this routine, he realizes his life is not his. It has been lived on autopilot, a collection of obligations and fears. That night, he doesn't sleep. He stares at the ceiling, trembling, because for the first time he sees clearly, he has been hiding from himself. That man could be you. We are terrified of silence because silence unmasks us. Without distraction, you feel the weight of your own life pressing down. You see the gap between who you pretend to be and who you really are. And in that moment, you face the choice. Keep running, or turn and look your suffering in the eye. Plato told a story about prisoners in a cave watching shadows on the wall, mistaking them for reality. If one prisoner escaped into the light, the truth would blind him at first, but only then could he see reality for what it was. That's your life. The shadows are the distractions, the roles, the shallow meanings. And the pain you feel, that gnawing emptiness, it is the light breaking through the cave. Do you dare to look? Because if you do, you'll discover something astonishing. Your pain is not an enemy. It's a compass. It's pointing to the places where you are dishonest, the parts of you that you've abandoned, the truths you've been too afraid to face. Pain, if endured, becomes clarity. Clarity becomes freedom. And freedom is unbearable to most people. That's why stupidity and conformity spread so easily. It is easier to laugh at deep questions, easier to drown in comfort, easier to pretend everything is fine. Machiavelli observed that people prefer illusions that preserve their peace rather than truths that disturb their sleep. That's why when you start questioning, when you start seeing, people around you will resist. They will call you dramatic, depressive, pessimistic. But in reality, they are terrified of the mirror you hold up. You don't need to be like them. You are not alive just to repeat routines, to play roles, to collect things that will one day rot in silence. You are alive to wrestle with truth, even when it rips you apart. Because only through that struggle will you find something unshakable, a meaning no one can sell to you, no system can dictate, no failure can destroy. And here is the twist most will never accept. True meaning is born not in joy, but in tragedy. Ask anyone who has survived war, loss, or the brink of despair. They will tell you that the moment they stopped asking, "Why me?" and started asking, "What now?" life changed. The pain didn't vanish, but it was transfigured. It became power. Your wounds can become your teachers. Your failures can become your foundation. Your despair can become the doorway to a life more honest than anything comfort could offer. But only if you stop running. So I ask you again, are you willing to suffer for greatness? Not greatness in the eyes of the world, but greatness of the soul. The greatness that comes from living with eyes wide open, unflinching before the truth, unwilling to trade your freedom for illusions. If you are, then your pain is not the end. It is the beginning. One day, when you are older, you will look back at your life. You will remember the nights you couldn't breathe from despair, the mornings where you dragged yourself out of bed without hope, the moments when you felt like giving up. And if you choose courage now, you will smile. Not because those moments were easy, but because they were necessary. They were the fire that burned away the lies, leaving only what was real. That is the hidden cost of chasing meaning. It will hurt. It will break you. But in the ruins, you will finally meet yourself. And maybe, just maybe, that is enough. So tonight, when the silence comes, don't run. Listen. The voice you hear is not your enemy. It is your only chance to live a life that is truly yours. Because the truth is waiting. And it is calling your name.